Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. A lot of people want to focus on what Lane Kiffin, this Ole Miss program, have been doing in the transfer portal. We've highlighted it extensively as well. It's no secret that this Ole Miss program has had a ton of success in the transfer portal. What I don't think a lot of college football fans are recognizing about this Ole Miss program is they have been doing a phenomenal job recruiting the high school ranks as well. They land another commitment coming from three-star tight end Hayden Bradley from Buford, Georgia. Now, you take a look at the three-star ranking. That doesn't nearly tell you the full story in terms of how coveted Hayden Bradley was in the 2025 class. This was a kid that had offers from Michigan, Penn State, Texas A&M, Oregon, the Florida Gators. You take a look at what Hayden Bradley brings to this Ole Miss offense. My favorite attribute about Hayden Bradley is he plays a lot of inline tight end. And you look at the high school ranks, it's really hard to find tight ends coming to the college football ranks that have experience playing in line, blocking in the run game. A lot of these tight ends that are coming to the college football level really – they just play that jumbo wide receiver role. You take a look at Hayden Bradley's film. This is a guy that lines up in line, blocks extremely well off the line of scrimmage. I really like what Hayden Bradley can bring to this Ole Miss offense, where you're getting a tight end that can be a massive weapon in terms of what he can do as a blocking tight end. But you talk about a pass catcher at 6'4", 220, massive catch radius, knows how to work the middle of the field. That is something that's very important to this Ole Miss offense. I think Hayden Bradley checks every single box that Ole Miss is looking for from that tight end position. And as a Michigan fan, this was one of the tight ends that Michigan was really high on in this 2025 class. And I'll tell you this to the Ole Miss fans, y'all got a good one in Hayden Bradley. Want to get into the film, talk a little bit about what he brings to the table for this Ole Miss offense. Before we do, and as always, just want to say thank you to you guys, the Ole Miss fans, whether we've been talking the transfer portal, the high school recruiting cycle, the amount of support the Ole Miss fans continue to show to the fellas. It means the world. It's been absolutely amazing. Can't thank you guys enough. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. We'll keep you guys as updated as possible with what Ole Miss is doing, not only in the portal, but also the high school recruiting trail. Appreciate you guys. And without further ado, let's get into Hayden Bradley. And as I said, as a Michigan fan, I am quite familiar with Hayden Bradley. There's a reason Michigan was going after this kid as hard as Michigan was. And you look at what Michigan values from that tight end position, you got to be able to block. I think that's why he was so high on Michigan's board as well. You look at this Ole Miss offense, the preconception, Ole Miss fans know this. I don't think a lot of college football fans know. This Ole Miss team wants to run the football. When you have a tight end that can be a weapon in the run blocking department, that's really a special thing for this Ole Miss offense. And I think what's so exciting about Hayden Bradley is there's still a lot of weight for him to add to his frame at 6'4", 220. He's probably going to play for Ole Miss around 245 pounds, and he shows that he's a willing blocker, a damn good blocker at 220 pounds. What's he going to look like run blocking when he puts some weight on within this Ole Miss program? You get into Hayden Bradley. He's a box checker at that tight end position. I think he fits exactly what Ole Miss wants to do. When you turn on the film and you kind of get the feel of why Hayden Bradley is such a special tight end. Again, lining up in line, working the middle of the field. First rep you're going to see is the catch radius, and that's something really important. When you're looking for tight ends, you got to have these big bodies that have big frames. That's absolutely incredible. When you're talking about tight ends that can work the middle of the field, when the throwing windows are small, do you have tight ends that give you that big target, that big time catch radius? Hayden Bradley certainly gives you that. Phenomenal athlete, staying on his feet, making a play. This is a guy that is a 6'4", 220-pound tight end that is extremely fluid. I really like this play too, and it's nothing crazy, but you talk about red zone situations where those throwing windows are somewhat small. You got to be able to find the throwing windows and be presentable to your quarterback. You fire up this film here. I mean, Hayden Bradley just gets himself open, goes up high, points to football, makes a play. Football IQ, check. You look at the physical traits, that's certainly a check. This is a really special rep, right? Inline tight end, again, you don't see a lot of tight ends play this kind of way at the high school level. A lot of them are just split out wide. He's going to go one-on-one with an edge defender here. I mean, you see low pads, really powerful hands, driving those legs. That's as good as it gets from a tight end in terms of run blocking at the line of scrimmage. Hayden Bradley's ability to do that in terms of how Ole Miss wants to play, especially when you're asking your tight ends to block in space, block from the inline situation. Hayden Bradley can do all of that. And you look at Ole Miss, they want to run the football, having a tight end that can get it done. That's absolutely massive. Another thing that you always look for tight ends, what can they do with the football in the air, right? Making those 50-50 catches. The true definition of a difference maker tight end is one of those tight ends that is too fast for linebackers to deal with and just too big and physical for defensive backs to deal with. And you look at Hayden Bradley here, cornerback tracks him way up the field. Hayden Bradley, big physical frame. I'm going to go high point this football, be an animal when the football is in the air. You take a look at all the attributes that you want from a tight end. Hayden Bradley checking off just about every single box that you're looking for at that tight end position. Again, getting it done in the run blocking department. That is something that I think really made Hayden Bradley kind of really coveted in this 2025 cycle, where the recruiting services probably just look for the extreme physical traits. I think a lot of these Power 5 programs are saying, hey, we know there's a lot of tight ends that are kind of freak show athletes. Give me the tight end that can get it done as a blocker as well. Hayden Bradley continues to show that as well. Really good operating in the red zone. Again, just getting himself presentable to the quarterback, making plays. He's a guy that's going to be a red zone threat. He's going to be a threat over the middle of the field, and he's going to be a threat blocking as well. And you take a look at what Ole Miss has been doing in this 2025 class, and again, kind of goes back to what we've been talking about. A lot of people want to talk about Ole Miss and what they've done in the transfer portal, and it's no secret that Ole Miss has done a phenomenal job using the portal. Not enough people are realizing that Ole Miss is kind of just raking it in the high school ranks as well. Back-to-back top 20 classes, another class that is trending to be top 20 as well. We've broken down a lot of these guys, but I do want to talk about Hobson a little bit, a guy that we haven't gotten the opportunity to break down. I'm not going to fully make the Suntarian Perkins comp, but when you turn on the film for a guy like Jacoby Hobson, this is a guy that's from Mississippi, freak show athlete on the defensive side of the football, plays all over the field. You'll see him play the safety spot. You'll see him play nickel. You'll see him play as an off-ball linebacker. You'll even see him come off the edge. And you go back to Suntarian Perkins, what made him so special coming out is the versatility and the athleticism that he showed on the film as well. Suntarian Perkins lined up all over the defensive side of the football as well during the high school ranks. Jacoby Hobson, again, probably not the top tier athlete that Suntarian Perkins is. He's still a phenomenal athlete that can really be a chess piece in this Ole Miss defense. Probably going to play that linebacker spot. Fired up for him. Obviously, we talked about Hakalandir, a guy that is a difference maker at that running back spot. You look at what Ole Miss is doing in this 2025 class. They're absolutely cleaning up. Hayden Bradley, another massive addition for this Ole Miss program. We'll cut it there. Wanted to hop on, talk about Hayden Bradley, give a little update on what Ole Miss is doing in this 2025 class. Appreciate you guys rocking with the fellas. Again, if y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you guys, and we'll talk to y'all later.